fires one towards the goal. That's going to be gloved by Travis Ridgen. Well, this is more like it.
This is Slangin The Bizkit. Here's Travis Ridgen and Dave Wheeler.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Slangin The Bizkit. My name is Travis Ridgen. I am a 4-year retired pro hockey goaltender. Across from me, he is fixed. A third kid is chemically impossible at this point in time. He is at the top morning show in the city of Winnipeg for over 20 years. We're hoping his kids can grow up a little bit faster, become efficient, get some cheap...
No way, man. I want to slow it down. They're growing up way too quick.
Well, we need some cheap child labor to keep this show afloat.
Well, we are homeschooling, and actually the older one is taking an interest in video editing and audio editing, so I usually got him down in the studio working on stuff on a weekly basis. So, yeah. Eventually, who knows? Maybe they'll be content creators one day. We can only hope.
That beats $7.25 an hour. I'll tell you that much.
Oh well, listen. Is that what minimum wage is in some states right now?
Well, for foreign students, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think when minimum wage when I first started working was $4.50, just over that. Mm-hmm. And after I got my first check, my first actual check in radio, working full time in radio, I worked it out, and I think I was because I was on salary, it worked out to about $3.25 an hour. I wanted to frame the check, but I couldn't afford to frame it, so I just cashed it.
That's not bad. What year would that have been? That would have been 2000?
My first year in radio was 1998.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember my first check from YouTube when I was making videos, like originally. I finally got signed up for AdSense. I got approved, part of the YouTube partnership program. I got a direct deposit for $20. I felt like the richest man in the city of Winnipeg. I probably was one of the richest men in the city of Winnipeg at the time. And that was, when did I get my first YouTube check? That probably would have been 2017, 2018.
Good for you. Well, actually, I'm working my way towards being qualified for the AdSense. So if you haven't followed my YouTube channel yet, I throw up clips and whatnot, kind of similar to this show, except I throw all the clips up from my morning radio show with Tyler Carr and myself. So if you want to go subscribe to that, Wheeler J28, WHEELERJ28, and you can get daily clips and shorts and full hour-long podcast daily where you can stare at us and kind of a lot like this one. And then my wife and I are going to be starting one right away.
Is that a visual show too or audio?
Listen, have you seen how beautiful my wife is?
That's why I asked.
Yeah, there's no way I'm keeping her off camera.
No, exactly. You can't keep her on audio. You got to keep her on the video. But what do you say? Let's bang the gong, get it on. We're back in studio. Had a nice little break, a little trip to Montreal and Ottawa. Not for the Four Nations tournament, which we'll get to in a bit.
Yeah.
We got an exciting show. We got the Four Nations tournament. We're going to talk about USA Canada coming up later tonight. Obviously, this is going up for Sunday morning. So last night they played the game, the shit kicking against Sweden, Finland. I don't know what happened over there. A little bit of politics to talk into because with the booing of the national anthems, we got a voicemail line. We got a lot of calls because we've had off for about a week and a half with some travel. But we got an exciting jam-packed show to go to for today. But why don't we start with, I just got back from Montreal and Ottawa. I am amazed.
Is it colder there than it is in Winnipeg?
No, it's beautiful. I think Ottawa's humming around -10. Montreal around 0 to -5 is beautiful, fantastic. A lot of snow, a lot of slush, a little dirty. But as far as the actual cities go, the European architecture in Montreal is stunning. But the people of Montreal I found the most amazing because these people are so classy the way that they dress. Everybody is dressed nice. Everybody takes pride in how they dress and how they showcase themselves, which I would assume because you're not in Winnipeg or Saskatchewan where you're just trying to bundle up and be as warm as you can. You actually care about how you look and you present, which is nice to see. I also didn't feel like I had to have my head on a swivel anytime I was in downtown Montreal. Like somebody might give me the old Winnipeg handshake, right? 2 to the stomach, 1 to the chest.
It's interesting. In Western Canada, we've always read and felt about this disdain and this wanted sovereignty that Quebec in particular really, really wants. And until you get out there, and as you mentioned, it truly is the only international metropolis that Canada has. I mean, Toronto and Vancouver, sure, but they're very, very modern for the most part. Like Montreal is an old city. It's got a lot of ties back to Europe. Like it really does feel that way with the cobblestone streets. And then you go over to the East Coast, in St. John's, Newfoundland. I mean, you might as well, if you opened up your eyes one morning and walked outside, you wouldn't know if you were in Ireland or if you were in St. John's, Newfoundland. You really wouldn't. So it really is distinct. And that's what I love about the tapestry of Canada is that we've got all these different models from coast to coast. And it truly is a unique unity of country. And I know you want to talk a little bit about politics later and kind of the current state of Canada and the relationships and the trade with the United States of America. But I love Montreal. Beautiful women out there. The fashion is incredible.
The women are fantastic.
Buildings are great. Yeah, honestly, at certain points you look over and you're like, is that Hogwarts? Like, is Harry Potter going to be flying over in a broom here right away? Like, it's a beautiful city. I love it there.
Culture's great. People are friendly. I was amazed, too. I couldn't find the homeless, but just because living
Were
in
you looking for them?
Well, I was looking for them because in Vancouver, you can't go anywhere without seeing some dude zonked on a bench or, lighting a fire for his bong. But in Montreal, I couldn't find any of this. And I'm wondering, where are the homeless encampments? Like, this is a very clean place, clean city. They have an underground city. So like the whole city, kind of like in Winnipeg with the True North Square? No. Winnipeg Square,
Okay.
the walkways and whatnot.
Oh, yeah,
the
Portage
Skywalk,
and Main, yeah.
the Skywalk.
Yeah.
They have the exact same thing. I went into the metro station. There's the homeless encampment underground, but there was nothing above ground. But food was great. People were friendly. Also, too, because I was staying at the Chateau Champlain. They call it the cheese grater, big cheese grater design. And for those that don't know, there's a little wheel of brie cheese at the top, which is kind of on brand, but it's kind of funny because you don't put brie cheese on the wheel, on the cheese grater. But all the NHL teams, well, not the NHL teams, but the Four Nations teams were staying there. The staff were staying there. Everybody from the NHL was there, the media, everybody. And it was so cool because going into the elevators, going from breakfast, lunch, dinner, around town, whatever it was, bumping into different people. Like I hopped into the elevator after my morning workout, 2 espressos in hand, as typical. And one of the guys from the NHLPA, I won't mention his name, he's in the elevator, and I kind of get that feeling. You know that feeling like when somebody recognizes you, like they're eyeing you up and down. I think I know this guy. And I could feel this as my head's up and I'm crushing my espresso. And then as I put my head down, he says, "You do that podcast, don't you?" I said, "Yeah, I do. We do that podcast." And he said, "I wouldn't say this if anybody else was in here because I work for the NHLPA. Love the show." And a lot of that feedback. So to anybody at the Four Nations tournament that's been watching the show, thank you. To everybody that watches the show, regardless of where you are, whether you found the show from TikTok or hot takes on Instagram Reels, or you're just a hockey fan, or you live in the city of Winnipeg, thank you, because that keeps us going.
Yeah, big shout out to Kipper, too.
Kyprios?
Yeah, Nick Kyprios.
Oh, Nick Kyprios. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's been watching the show too. He was actually a big inspiration for starting the show for myself when I started everything in 21. Because remember, he used to have a million hot takes back in the day on Sportsnet when they did the I think Hockey Central at noon. Very polarizing, kind of like a sister of Don Cherry, if you want to call him that. Maybe he's not a chick.
I don't think you'd like that.
Well, you know what I'm talking
I
about,
know
right?
what you're saying,
Maybe
yeah.
like a little more watered down version of Grapes, but
Yeah, like a Wish.com version.
yeah, like a Walmart version.
Yeah.
Not to chirp him too much because he was a legend. He won a couple of the Rangers and very successful in sports media. But yeah, stuff like that was really cool. And then running into different guys and making films and content in the community that watched the show. So shout out to everybody. It was awesome. I wish that you were there, to be honest with you, because I thought to myself, because I brought my missus there. We're doing a trip to Montreal and to Ottawa. And I thought, she mentioned to me, wouldn't it be great if you and Dave had gone down to the Four Nations thing? You know, you go do some documentary stuff, do some of the vlog work for the tournament, for the show, obviously, and then do some reporting from there. And I thought, that would be amazing. Why didn't I think of this? Because you said it was just going to be some shinny tournament, right?
Well, look, I'll be honest with you. I'll be the first one to say I was wrong. I know we're only 2 games in, 3 now with last night's game, depending on when you watched. But the hockey has been better than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be kind of like a half speed. Hey, let's just kind of have some fun out there and giggle at each other. But I think it was the first hit that Josh Morrissey laid in the first period against Sweden that I kind of went, all right. Okay, but I will say I was also right that some club team is going to be absolutely miserable when they lose one of their top guys, and Theodore's already done for how long, we don't know. I think there's going to be a handful more before this tournament's over later on this week, but yeah, I mean, thank goodness that they left the trade deadline for after so they can go and get one of these rented players if they need an extra D-man, but man, what a shot for them. Having Theodore out of your lineup for the second half of the season, if the injury is that intense. Whoa. The fact that Crosby's even playing, like he missed the last 2 games with Pittsburgh before this tournament, so he could get ready for this one. I'm sure Pittsburgh loves that.
Also 22-0 as captain of Team Canada when Sidney Crosby wears the C for Canada, 22-0. Not a bad stat to have on your side. But I thought too, though, wouldn't it have been awesome for us to go to experience that?
Sure.
And then I thought to myself, well, I wonder if it's too late. Can we get a last-minute flight to go back to Montreal and for you to head there with me and get some tickets? And I was looking at tickets. So for the game last night, Canada-USA, what do you think the tickets were running for at the Bell Center?
You already told me when we were having coffee, and it took me 5 guesses to get there. I couldn't believe it. And I kept going up and up and up. I was shocked. What did you say, 700? For a nosebleed?
For the absolute worst seat in the building, at the back, 22,000 high, where you can barely see the action, $700 on Ticketmaster resale.
Unbelievable.
And then for the Finland-Sweden game,
Yeah, the afternoon game yesterday.
$59.
Unbelievable.
What a deal.
What a gouge.
But I guess nobody wants to go see the Scandinavians.
Well, look, I think there was a lot more people cheering for the Finns in that first game against the USA at Bell Center than they were cheering against the USA, and evidence of that was how much the crowd went nuts after that first Finnish goal, and the fact that they were booing the national anthem. Don't do that.
We're going to save the anthem.
Don't do that.
I promised recently we're going to start saving the politics towards the end of the show.
Okay.
Because people want sports to begin, and then as you ease into the show, we'll hit you with that stuff. So we'll save that for the end. I promise. Yeah, it would have been really cool for us to go. Obviously next year, because they promised they're going to be doing this tournament every other year, and they want to do a World Cup, I think, in 28 with 8 teams. But still, what a shame without Russia. Russia would have been a great addition.
I've brought this up before. I think they should bring the Canada Cup format back, and I don't think it has to be as international, but truly make it a Canada Cup. I think once the NHL season is done and all these teams that don't make playoffs, or if they get bounced in the first round, instead of going over to the World Championships, which has less eyes on it than the women's Olympic team when they're playing in the finals against the USA. I mean, the World Championships are kind of an afterthought. I mean, I know it's a big deal over in Europe. I mean, I'm not taking that away from the Europeans. It's a big deal. But in North America, we don't care as much. I mean, I think the Spengler Cup probably gets as much viewership. So I would love to see the Canada Cup actually be a Canadian tournament where you have all these guys who aren't playing because their team got bounced, mix them with a bunch of like high-end junior players, maybe some amateur guys from the Allen Cup, and have a provincial rivalry coast to coast. BC fighting against Quebec. You got, Nunavik could probably field a team with some help with the Northwest Territories. You can have, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Alberta. I think it would be a great tournament.
I think so, too. You know that Ridgeon guy moved to Nunavut.
Yeah, right?
Starting goalie for Nunavut.
Go get a P.O. box up there. You could absolutely get one. That'd be great.
How many guys do you think would start changing their address for that, just so they can get on weaker teams?
Well, that's happened in curling in the past decade, where you have to be a resident of that province in order to be...
Like own property, or that's on your driver's license?
That's got to be on your driver's license, and apparently there's been a lot of P.O. boxes set up because you've got a lot of people who... I mean, I'm trying to think of an example right now, but a few of them have said, okay, well, I didn't qualify here in Manitoba, so I'm going to go over to Alberta and try and qualify there, or BC, or wherever it may be. So I think you might run into that problem, but yeah, it's possible.
That's how I was doing when I was playing AAA hockey. The south end of the city in Winnipeg, it was almost impossible to make the teams, so set up a different address in the north end of town. Well, made AAA for my first year.
Good for you.
So it's doable.
Well, that's one thing I actually heard Charles Barkley talking about in regards to basketball. When you're getting recruited from high school to go to a lot of these NCAA colleges, why would you go to the best team? Like, why shoot for USC? You're not going to be a standout. Go play for a bad team. Yep. Go play for a team that's going to roll out the red carpet for you, saying, we need you, and be able to start every single game, get all the minutes, have an opportunity to shine so you can make it up to that next level.
That's risky. I mean, you sound the national champion. Good luck playing there anytime soon.
Right.
Or at least starting, we should say. But would you do Team GTA versus the rest of Ontario, or do you just do one Ontario team?
I think you'd have to do Northern Ontario and then Southern Ontario. At this point, I don't even know why they haven't split that province yet, because Northern Ontario is closer to Manitoba as far as a culture than it is in Southern Ontario.
Amen. Especially the great folks of Thunder Bay.
Totally.
But I don't know, though. I feel like Southern Ontario would still dummy Northern. You got to put like just the GTA and then the rest.
I don't think so. You've got Sudbury up there. You've got a lot of good hockey cities. Timmins, a lot of good players coming out of Northern Ontario. So I think you'd have enough to field a team.
To the folks of Sudbury to listen to this show, would you rather be a part of the Manitoba culture or the center of the universe? Or I identify that more towards Northern Manitoba.
What's that?
Or Northern Ontario, sorry, Sudbury.
Yeah, absolutely, is Northern Ontario.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
But closer to Manitoba than the center of the universe in Toronto.
100%. Yeah, they have more of, I guarantee you, they have more of an affiliation with Winnipeg than they do Toronto.
Yeah, go Wolves. Nickel capital of the world, where they also filmed Shoresy.
Yeah, when the Lakehead
Wolves. Wolves?
Yeah, Wolves as well. Yeah.
Lakehead's in Thunder Bay, is it not? Or is it in Sudbury?
No, it's in Thunder Bay. So the Lakehead, the university there.
Thunder Wolves?
I think it's the Thunder Wolves, yeah.
This is losing all of our credibility.
Holy moly, yeah.
Just had a stroke live on the show. Well,
my buddy Matt Jakes used to be the captain of that team.
One last quick thing before we do our transition break for our presenting sponsor for the show. Ottawa, beautiful city. You know who got married at the Chateau Laurier where I was staying?
My favorite hockey player?
Your boy, Stevie Y. He got married at the Chateau Laurier back in the day. Back in the day when the NHLCBA said 2 guys per room, not 1 guy per room. Now where everybody gets their own room. Back in the day, guys shared. And Stevie Y, he met his missus. He's a Cranbrook boy, Cranbrook, BC. He met his missus from the Ottawa area and said, we're going to get married at the castle in Ottawa. Got married just outside of Parliament Hill at the Chateau Laurier.
Yeah, because he was a Peterborough Pete, so it makes sense that he'd probably meet his missus when he was in that tender age.
Yeah, it's cool though. Stevie Y, you could pick anywhere in the world to get married, and that's where he wanted to get married.
As much as I'm a hockey fan, I am not closeted about this at all, but I am a huge Marvel fan. I just went and saw Captain America on opening night, Friday night, the new Captain America movie with Sam Wilson as Captain America. And I'm also a big Star Wars fan. And the fact that Mando is a presenting sponsor, the first thing I thought of was Mandalorian. And as far as getting yourself armored to get away from that stink and that sweat, it's like wearing Beskar armor.
Absolutely. And let's give a nice warm welcome to our new presenting sponsor for this week's episode.
Mando.
Mando, America's #1 favorite Whole body deodorant. They're sponsoring the show this week, and here's the deal with MANDO. You can put it on your pits, packages, and feet. It was made by a doctor who said, you know what? I don't think that actual deodorant is getting the job done anymore, so I'm going to make it for your whole body. You don't need it just for your pits. What about anywhere else that's stinking? Maybe under that little belly fold, little muffin top you got, maybe under your balls, maybe in your crack. They have a 60-day money-back guarantee. You try it. If you don't like it, you think it doesn't work, you send it back, no questions asked. And because they're sponsoring the show, if you are undecided, because we all need deodorant. If you're not using deodorant, you're disgusting. You need to use deodorant. Full-body deodorant from the team at MANDO. We're going to get you $5 off your order, which is basically 40% off. Their starter package, you're going to get the stick version of the deodorant. You're going to get the cream version of the deodorant. You're also going to get 2 gifts, so you can pick from the website. So for me, I use the wipes, and let me tell you, it beats breaking out the pressure washer any day of the week.
I'll take a bidet any chance I get, but man, having those moist towelettes, they're a nice change.
It's the next best thing out there. And when you go to the link in the video description at shopmando.com, use the code BIZKIT, BIZKIT, get $5 off, basically 40% off your starter kit at MANDO. And thank you so much to MANDO for sponsoring this show.
And as the way the Mandalorians would say, this is the way.
Do you think Bill Belichick uses MANDO? I think he definitely is with how much he's been crushing it lately.
Whew, Bill Belichick. I actually saw him recently over Super Bowl weekend when he did the commercial with Ben Affleck for Dunkings, which is the coffee shop out of Boston, and showed up. They were doing looked like a coffee convention, and he was on the Dunkings team, the Dunkings, and had his girl there with him as well. I'll tell you, there's not a lot of acting chops in there, but you could tell it was Bill Belichick when he opened up his mouth.
Where do you even begin with that? With 74 years old, 74 years young, 24-year-old girlfriend, right off the runway, hot model. Bill says, hey, I love young, beautiful women. She says, hey, I like being taken care of. Here we are. And Bill Belichick, if that doesn't get you off your ass to want to work hard and try to be successful and get some cash in the bank, I don't know what will.
Who are we to judge, right?
Well, and further proving that, is it not, women are the ultimate currency of ballers. It's not money. It's not real estate. It's not Bitcoin. It's chicks. Having a beautiful woman at 74 years of age, as good looking as that, that's how you do it.
I'm telling you, he had Tom Brady for almost 20 years, and yeah.
And now he's got her for 20.
There you go.
It made me think back to a time when the Bills sucked and the Chiefs were the punching bag of the league. Bill Belichick's girlfriend wasn't even born, and he was winning Super Bowls with Tom Brady and the team.
Isn't that crazy to think?
That's a good time.
Man, time
The
flies.
Nintendo GameCube was the be-all, end-all, or PlayStation 2, or was it Xbox? One of the three. I was barely even born at that point in time, too. But Bill Belichick, for those about to rock, we salute you. That's awesome. I think everybody get off your ass, get inspired, go to the gym, go do something awesome. And you, too, can be 74 years young, dating a 24-year-old model.
He's got to get 5 Super Bowls. No big deal.
9. He had 2 as coach for the Giants, I think, and then 7 for the Patriots. He got 9 rings. He had so many rings that when he showed up to the Super Bowl party, she was wearing some of them.
Wow, why not? Why not?
I don't have enough room on my fingers for all of them, so why don't I let my new, hot, 24-year-old girlfriend wear them? Anybody else here 70 years old having a 24-year-old girlfriend? I didn't think so.
Bill, when are you going to get me a ring? Take your pick. You want? Go ahead, wear one.
There's 9 of them.
Yeah.
Which one? You can actually pick 2 if you want.
Yeah, you can rotate them. 2-week rotation. It's great.
Speaking of 2 weeks, we got the 2-week tournament. 4 nations. Why don't we start with the Team Canada-Sweden game? Because I feel like Team Sweden got worked harder than some of your side pieces when you were playing junior. I'm talking head against the headboard, worked hard, pucks in deep on a Saturday night.
I'll be honest with you, outside of the top line of McDavid and Crosby, I didn't see a lot of cohesion in the Team Canada ranks. I thought Binnington got bailed out quite a bit. I don't think he was overly strong. I think the U.S. has the absolute edge in goaltending in this tournament with Connor Hellebuyck in net. But and then maybe it'll get better. But over a 10-day tournament, who's to say you're going to gel that quickly? But I thought it was better hockey than I was expecting. I was expecting a half-speed game. I thought these guys went out and played, and the whole idea of they're playing for the crest on the front. I didn't believe that, but after seeing a couple of games, yeah, I'm a believer. It's good hockey, and I think the NHL, they may have gotten it right this time, which is kind of hard to believe.
I feel like that first line is like a bunch of crack addicts in a pharmacy. They're just running all over the place, cycling the puck around. They got that juice. They got that energy. I mean, McDavid just going coast to coast, almost chipping it by Gustafsson. Brad Marchand burying from the ladies' tee 6 feet outside the crease in that second goal and that power play. If you're Connor Hellebuyck, dealing with them obviously last night by the time the game's up, I feel like you're just sitting on the goal line, you're bumping post to post, you're keeping flat, and you're just trying to get mass in front of the puck and not get out of the way. Like they're moving that puck so fast and with such efficiency. It's incredible.
This goes to show how good McKinnon is.
Oh, he was jumping in overtime too. He was working. I almost thought he was going to bury that one. What was it? 2 minutes in, and then he shoveled it at Gustafson's chest, but still a great save. And then he had that one, the 2-on-1 with McDavid, where he shoveled it just top of the pad, and Gustafson got a pad on it. He was great, but I wasn't a fan of that overtime goal. So we call that pre-shot movement. So Marner's coming in, and he's ready, and then he's getting tighter as Marner's releasing, and then he moves back out. Because believe it or not, and I know this sounds insane, 70% of all goals in NHL are the goaltender getting out of the way.
Well, this goes back, and this is going to be something that came out way before you were born, but back in the 80s, Wayne Gretzky came out with the VHS called Gretzky Hockey My Way, and that was one of the big things that I took out of that. Wait for the goalie to make the first move. It's a chess game. Wait for him to make the first move, and then you do what you do after that.
Well, and I think that stat probably has gone up since then with the goaltender getting out of the way because the game's gotten so fast. I mean, we appreciate it from sitting up in Section 308 in the upper deck of Canada Life Center watching the Jets play. But when you're on the ice and you see how fast the game is, it's incredible. So you have to do a lot of anticipating, lots of reads, a lot of hockey IQ.
Yep. And
sometimes you get a little bit horny for the puck. You get a little bit excited and you blow your load before they even shot the puck. And that pre-shot movement of I'm getting ready to keep things tight or whatnot, you're getting out of the way. I mean, look at we'll talk about it in a sec, but that first goal, the only goal Connor Hellebuyck gave up against the Finns, dude's like gaping for penetration under his arm. They squeak it by, a little bit of a leaky goal. And then Binnington, pretty much every single goal he gave up against Sweden, he literally was getting out of the way. He was shifting over, puck goes this way and whatnot. So it's a problem. I'm guilty of it myself. I've done it plenty of times, but that's a huge problem at that level because the guys are so fast and goalies just get out of the way.
Jussi Saros looked a little out of sorts, by the way. Those are goals that he wouldn't typically let in, especially that Matthew Tkachuk goal, that floater from the point on the power play, kind of like the spin and turn. That's not a goal that he usually gives up.
Yeah, a little slow. To be fair, though, great tip. He's shifting one way, puck's going this way, tip back the other way. But he didn't look like he quite had it. And I mentioned this to you when we were getting coffee this morning before we started recording. You're playing against the best players in the world. So I like to understand that when everybody is so good, the best goalies are going to look a little bit worse than what they normally are. Although giving up that sixth spot and that greaser 5-hole, and then 11 seconds later getting up another goal and that bad shot from the point, they hit a couple crossbars too. He didn't look quite as good. But
well, we always knew that this Finland was going to be the weakest link out of the four teams. But you know what? I'm curious to see that noon game today. Obviously, we're recording right before puck drop. But I'm curious to see how, because the Finns and the Swedes have always had a great rivalry. So I'm curious to see how that one plays out.
What do you think of Binnington, though? I know you mentioned a little bit leaky, but would you start him again for game 2?
No, I put Hillen.
You put Hillen?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he got the win, but I mean, at the same time, put Binnington up on the shelf, get Montembeault,
Mochambeau, as you call him.
Mochambeau. Oh, it sounds like Adam Sandler. Mochambeau. Put him down and get him some bench time. I think you got to rotate your guys. I think this is a situation where it's still an all-star situation. You want to see your guys in there, so I think they'll probably rotate them.
I would have started Mochambeau, or I would have started
Montembeau.
Yeah, you just messed
I got
me
it
up
right
there.
this time. Ha
Duck season, rabbit season, duck season, rabbit season, rabbit season, duck season, fire! I would have started Montembeault for game 2, but did you see his team mugshot? Looked like the guy came straight off the buffet line of the Royal Fork in Winnipeg, right from the dessert line.
Perfect.
To get his mugshot.
That's what we're looking for. We're looking for some girth in that.
Oh. They had a before and after shot of his rookie season in Florida, looking lean, looking tapered, and then just looking puffy, really puffy with Team Canada. Guys put on a little bit of weight. But hey, whatever, man. You stop the puck. You look like you're having a good time back there.
Get it done.
Blackwood. I'm kind of amazed they didn't put him on the roster because he was playing so well up into the tournament.
Yeah, but keep in mind it's an all-star, not a prospect tournament, right? So, I mean, it's, Binnington, Stanley Cup winner, Hill, Stanley Cup winner. I think your up-and-comer may have been Montembeault. I think they could have picked from 10 other guys in the league, obviously Blackwood being one of them. But, yeah, I think it was just a matter of a coin flip for the other two. But, you've got 2 Stanley Cup winners sitting right there. Connor Hellebuyck, obviously the best goaltender in the tournament right now, going into it. And I'm really hoping, I know this sounds strange, but keep in mind, it's a league-sanctioned tournament, so there is some selfishness in this one. But I'm really hoping that Connor Hellebuyck can play, and the game's already done as far as you watching this right now. But I'm really hope that he can go out there and silence a lot of the critics that he can't play in a big game based on what happened last year in the Stanley Cup playoffs, getting bounced in the first round in 5 games of the Colorado Avalanche. So if he can go out there, then things are looking really good for the second half of the season going into the playoffs with the Winnipeg Jets, who sit currently in first place in the league, and the majority of that is due to a great team, great coaching, but Connor Hellebuyck is a cornerstone of that success. So if he can keep that up, play well in this tournament, he stopped 20 of 21. They were great shots coming in from Finland again in that first U.S. game, but I think that this is going to be a great measuring stick for what he's going to do in the playoffs this year.
But hey, just make the saves you're supposed to. That's grand for your goaltending. And to a degree, Bennington did do that in overtime. Made those couple big saves, like your high school girlfriend, just lay down, get flat, and hope for the best.
Starfish it, baby.
Yep. And just hope you get hit and go to work. But do you think the headline of the tournament is going to be Canada's top line versus Hellebuyck? That's who decides the tournament. Do you think?
The tournament? Well, I think everyone's hoping for that USA-Canada final on Thursday night. That's the eyes that they want on for ESPN and ABC. And here in Canada, we're going to watch regardless. But
especially $700 a ticket.
No, I think, honestly, from the memes that I've been seeing online, going all the way back to the Goonies days, I think the Tkachuks, I think they're really going to make a point of making this their tournament for Team USA.
They dominated Finland.
Yeah. 2 goals each. It's pretty good.
Big Walt in the building.
Yeah.
Who do you think brought more Parmesan cheese into the White House, Hunter Biden or the Tkachuk family?
Hunter Biden. Easily. You kidding me? He didn't even have to transport it in. It's been sitting there waiting for him. If you don't think, for the record, that old Sleepy Joe was on a very calculated daily dose of the white stuff just to keep him standing up straight, you're crazy.
Joe, you want a hit? Yeah, sure thing, son.
No, it was prescription based. I guarantee you.
They're a damn good team, though. They got some real power.
They're a good hockey team, man.
The JT Miller line too. Mm-hmm. He was looking dominant as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, look, for all of the grief that we gave that situation regarding him and the being out in Vancouver and the Pettersson situation and the Quinn Hughes situation. Man, he feels like he looks like he's had new life breathed into him being back in New York. He looks good.
I would feel good too, especially get away from the peons of the Canadian media in Vancouver. That's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, he was not happy in Vancouver, that's for sure.
Rumor has it, when Jim Rutherford made the trade with JT Miller, he did it from East Hastings.
Based on what they got in return and that 3-way deal?
Cheeto and a second-round pick. Deal.
Look like Kramer going in for the free coffee. Deal.
You guys think Rutherford's okay? Oh, he's in East Hastings. All right, yeah, send the paperwork to the NHL.
Man, I don't want to say they got fleeced, but wow, that was something.
Well, here's the stat for you real quick. I know we're not talking about the Canucks for the show, but 2 players in Canucks history have averaged over a point per game. You know who they are?
The Sedin brothers.
Nope.
Messier.
Nope.
Quinn Hughes.
Nope.
JT Miller.
Yes. And the Russian Rocket.
Oh, Pavel Bure, obviously.
Pavel Bure.
Yeah.
And JT
obviously.
Miller. Only 2 Canucks players to ever finish their career as a Canuck 1 point per game.
No
minimum.
kidding. That's impressive.
And they dished him. I'm also looking forward to, I hope, USA and Sweden. Miller Pettersson.
I don't think it's going to be as big of a deal as you think it is.
There'll be some cross-checks. I'm looking forward to that.
I think it's water under the bridge at this point. They both got what they want. He's gone. He's back in the U.S. Everyone's happy now. Water under the bridge. Quinn Hughes, hopefully he can come back and play strong for the team because, man, he looks like a guy who is... They basically pulled him off of the hospital bed and said, put your gear on. Like, he looks beat up. Like, he just looks like he's been through the ringer.
Looks like he could use a pair of Sheath Underwear.
Oh, absolutely he could. Give him 2 pairs.
Oh, give him a whole package.
Please.
Get him a 6-piece combo and a soda.
Give him the Bizkit promo code, and let's get him hooked up.
Well, I'll tell you why. He needs a pair of Sheath Underwear because they're going to keep him calm, cool, and collected. They're bamboo mesh. They're new and improved. 2.0 bamboo mesh is better than it ever has been before. It aerates like it never has. And they're dual pouch technology. It's a separated compartment for your dick and your balls. You put them where they need to be. They're not bat winging to the side of your leg. They're not going to be peeling them off like a piece of gum on the side of the hockey bench when you're going for a quick change. Oh, that's nasty. You don't want that. You go to the link in the video description. Use the code BIZKIT69, BIZKIT 69 for 20% off. The greatest pair of underwear money ever has and ever will buy. We all need Gitch. Get yourself a pair from Sheath and make the best investment you will make this calendar year. It all starts with Sheath.
Thank you, Sheath, for being a longtime sponsor here on the show.
Day one. Shout out to Robert. Official underwear of the UFC.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool.
And as you mentioned before, they've been working with us longer than the UFC.
That's true. You're welcome, UFC. You're welcome, Dana White.
If you see the fights, you'll see in the octagon, like on the top corner of the octagon, like the top bar, Sheath Underwear.
Yeah, you should talk to Robert, see if you can get our faces up there. Sheath Underwear, powered by Slangin The Bizkit.
Well, if you want to punch us in the face, that's what the voicemail line's for. So we'll get to that in a second. But let's unload this. The fans in Montreal that were booing the U.S. national anthem. If you booed the national anthem, first off, what is wrong with you? You should be ashamed of yourself. And secondly, you're disrespecting the veterans. The national anthems are not for the big bad orange man. They're not for the teams that are playing. It's to say thank you and to show respect for the men that gave the ultimate sacrifice, their lives, for your freedom to be able to play this game on this soil in this country freely. That is what they are for. And if you were one of those dirtbags that booed the national anthems, here's what I want you to do. I want you to put your vanilla frappuccino down. I want you to go home. I want you to take your clothes off of your soy-loving body. I want you to walk in front of a mirror and take a good deep look and realize what a punk you are.
I had a rather interesting conversation in my text group with a bunch of my homies back in northern Alberta, and the question of the national anthem came up, saying, "Why are we even doing this anymore?" Mm-hmm. And someone said, "Well, it's tradition. We've been doing it forever." The tradition actually started during the war. And the idea was to honor
which
the ones.
One or two?
Two. And the idea was to honor the guys that are over there fighting. And so we play the national anthem. And at this point now, it's just become habit. It's just part of the production schedule. Okay, anthem. And believe me when I tell you, guys getting the anthem, being able to stand out there on the blue line, out on the ice, being part of the starting lineup, it's a big deal for the players. Okay,
buckets off too. Yep.
Yeah, buckets off. Yeah, it's ritual now at this point. And I also think it's a great opportunity for a lot of up-and-coming singers to get in front of 15,000 plus fans, and it's trickled all the way down to junior hockey, to midget AAA hockey, to collegiate hockey, to a whole bunch of different sports. I think it's a good ritual. I think it's great. And keep in mind that the United States has gone through a beating in their own country when it comes to the anthem, with players kneeling and doing all that kind of stuff. And I think it's really interesting that a lot of veterans have said, hey, we did fight. Absolutely, but we gave you the right to do what you want, to have freedom. So I understand why people are booing. I get it. It's more of we're doing this because we're not happy with the current relationship of the tariffs and whatnot. So it's not necessarily booing the people. It's not necessarily booing the country. It's making a political statement saying, I'm not happy with the way the trade situation's going on right now with our biggest trading partner. And if it's a simple boo, so what?
Sure, but if you believe that, you are uneducated, because you don't understand that the anthem is to say
I am
thanks.
very educated, by the way.
For you people that boo the
Easy,
anthems,
Jerry.
you don't understand the anthem is to pay homage and to say thank you to the men that gave the ultimate sacrifice. Okay, sure, it's part of the production schedule. Yeah, an anthem photo looks sweet on your Upper Deck Peachy rookie card. I get it. And it's cool. A good chance for us in Winnipeg to yell True North during the anthem and bleed our heritage and bleed our passion for the Winnipeg Jets. I get it. But if you're booing because the Orange Man is bad, shame on you for being uneducated. Don't get mad at the Orange Man. Get mad at the person that's been running this country the last 9 years and running into the ground. I will quote
the Premier of Manitoba, and I'll give him some credit on this one. I thought it was clever, and it was also very poignant. But Wab Kidoux, Premier of Manitoba, said, don't boo during the anthem. Boo when they touch the puck. That's what we do as Manitobans.
I like that.
Right? So boo when they touch the puck. Whenever an American touches the puck, that's when you boo them. Not during the anthem. That's ritualistic. You stand, you do what you normally do, you take your hat off, and you're respectful for both of those, part of the routine, and then we can move on with the game. And that's when you boo them. That's when you can show it's not the fact that, you don't like the anthem. You don't like the players because they're playing for a different country. That's the part that you get to boo them for. So I understand your frustration with it. I get it. I'm not a big fan of it either. I think you stand there. It's minute and a half, 3 minutes if you're playing both anthems. I mean, even in Formula One, after the racers, the pilots go up on the podium, they'll play the anthem of their home country and then play the anthem of the constructors as well. So it's very ritualistic at this point. Some of my buddies in the text conversation said it's very, and I've heard this argument before, that it's a prayer. We're not in church. We don't have to stand and do this kind of stuff like we do at church. It's not a hymn, but there are, God bless America. There are mentions of God and religion in those things. So some people don't like it for those reasons, but it's ritual. It's what we do. It's part of the program. Whatever.
The last two times that I remember that the Canadians booed the national anthem or the U.S. booed the national anthem, it was 2006. Oilers are down 2-0 against the San Jose Sharks, going to the Shark Tank. Going back to Edmonton. The Sharks fans had booed the Canadian national anthem. Oilers came back, won 4 straight, all the way up to the Cup final. Senators fans, Game 4 against the Ducks, they booed the national anthem. They got rinsed in Game 4, and the Ducks took the cup. It's bad luck, bad karma. Show some respect. You people should be ashamed Don't boo it.
I also like the and as far as the whole ritual thing, I do, and I don't think anyone will disagree with this one. Those moments, and they happen very infrequently, but when they do happen, they're pretty cool. Like the mic cuts out during the anthem, and the fans step up and they sing it, whether it be the American or the Canadian one, and they all sing in unity. That's part of the game day experience. Screaming True North, screaming, all the things they do down in Dallas when they yell Stars, when the Stars and Stripes are going on, all that kind of stuff. In Carolina when they yell Red. I mean, all of that stuff is part of the game day experience. I think it's cool. And you know what? So is booing.
Or even in 2016, Oilers doing the national anthem, round 2 against the Ducks. Brett Kissel's doing the anthem. Whoever hooked up the audio didn't do their job properly. The audio is not working. The fans did it louder than they've ever done before. Magical moments like that.
Makes for a good rivalry, though.
It does make for a fantastic rivalry. But you know who I feel bad for? The guy who makes those F. Trudeau flags. That guy single-handedly went out of business in the last month and a half. So
well, he should have gotten in bed with the guy that said Canada is not for sale, because that guy got rich overnight.
Yeah, then he went out of business because you couldn't order hats for 6 months because we don't produce anything.
Right.
So we're in trouble as a country. It's sad. We're extremely fragile right now. I mean, do we have enough time to just dabble in this a little bit quickly?
Go for it.
We have such a mess in Canada right now with the fact that in this last decade, over half the new jobs created are working for the government. So the fact that you have all this spending on government jobs, we're not producing anything because we haven't opened up any production of anything in the last decade. If you're going to cut that spending, now you're going to have half the population unemployed. The new guy's going to come in and get blamed for that. They're talking about emergency powers to do some money printing to give everybody a little bit of supplementation for their lack of money right now. You're going to bury us in 2 years, in a year, 2 years with all the inflationary printing. We are in such a mess right now. The dollar is probably going to start trending towards 50 cents in the next month or two with all these tariffs coming in. If you are mad at the Orange Man, take a look inside at the enemy that we have here, who has frozen your bank accounts, who has called you a terrorist in your own home soil for wanting to have your business open the last couple of years during this imaginary pandemic.
Politically, we are in a tough spot right now. I will not disagree with that. It's the ever-revolving door. The Liberals go in and they spend, and then the Conservatives come in and they clean it up, and then they clean it up to a point where they can start spending again, and it's cyclical. You know what I mean? And I know the U.S. has the two-party system with the Republicans and the Democrats. In Canada, it seems like we have more choice, where we have the NDP, we have the Green, we have all these different parties, the Conservatives, the Liberals. But in the grand scheme of things, we're not voting for the person, we're voting for the party. So we're about to get into a situation where we're going to get a brand new prime minister that nobody voted for.
Yep.
That nobody voted for. He's just going to be appointed because that's the party that's in power. And who knows how long he'll be in power for, if they can get a non-confidence vote. Politically, I understand it's a very frustrating time. Having our dollar being as low as it is very frustrating, and it likely will go lower. And we're dealing with, and regardless if you like the man or not, he is a master negotiator, literally wrote a book called The Art of the Deal. He's really good at it, and it's been frustrating for me to see a lot of reaction from other countries and what that man is doing in that country right now. When literally you can read his book, you can read his entire playbook. It's like Bill Belichick spying on the all the teams in the NFL.
On the Buffalo Bills in Wild Card Weekend.
You know exactly what they're going to do for their game plan. It's right there, and you don't even have to spy on them. It's literally in the book. So I understand a lot of the frustration that's going on. Some people would say actually having our dollar lower is really good because that means that we get more movies being shot in Canada. And there's a lot of American dollars coming in to this country because it is they're able to save so much money. It's literally half the price for them to come in and do all the work that they can do in Canada. So there are minor benefits. I think it'll all come out in the wash eventually. It's our biggest trading partner. I've heard rumors about Canada wanting to join the European Union. I think it'll eventually all come out. When in the grand scheme of things, Bill Hicks said it best. You go outside and you look up in the sky and you go, it's a nice day out. Look how beautiful it is. Crickets. Sometimes you if you just shut off all of the noise that's going on with all of these broadcasters, because keep in mind, they go with the whole, if it bleeds, it leads with the headlines. They want you divisive. They want you getting upset. They want you reading more. They want you doing these deep dives. They want you turning into the channel and getting frustrated and telling other people. But if you can just turn off the noise for a second and realize, hey, things aren't that bad. My life's okay. Then you can move on with your day.
Love him or hate him, if we had a guy in Canada that was doing the same things for us that he's doing for the U.S., would that not be the greatest thing ever? Somebody that wants to get all the bad guys out of the country, get them out, send them somewhere, don't care where it is as long as it's not here, cutting income tax, keep families safe, protect families and give them rights. All the things that he's doing so far and cutting all the spending so that you're not getting taxed into poverty in your own soil. If we had somebody in Canada doing that, we'd be in a lot better of a position.
I think my wife says it well, who is not a political junkie at all. She says, I don't understand this whole left wing, right wing. A bird needs both wings to fly.
Voicemail time. Call the voicemail anytime. Leave a message. Link down below.
Hey, Trav and Dave,
Hey.
listener from Scotland, UK. I actually emailed Trav about a couple of months ago. Me and the family are actually emigrating to Canada. We're looking at Alberta. Anyway, just curious about Trav not playing hockey at the minute. Would a flight across the pond be in consideration? The UK is beefing up their EIHL league. Some very competitive hockey at the minute. Well, if you take out a couple of teams, but the top end sort of arena teams, they're really looking strong, putting good numbers up. So yeah, just wondered if that would be in the pipeline or something that you would consider. Take care, guys. Love the show.
That's favorite accent ever. I've got Scottish heritage, and I'm going to take a stab at it. I might get it wrong, but his accent sounds like it's closer to St Andrews than it is like a Glasgow or an Edinburgh.
He listens to the show, and he's a Scotsman.
Yeah,
I like him.
God love him. Did you know their national animal is a unicorn? Yep,
It's not even a real animal.
truth.
What was his question? Would I go play in Europe?
Yeah, or would you go over and play in the UK league?
Yeah, absolutely. At the end of the day, an agent's job is to get me deals, and if my agent was doing his job and getting deals, I'd go over there, but that's not the case, and at the end of the day, I'd much rather do this show than bounce around leagues where I'm not going to get an opportunity, and I love doing this show. So
Next call coming in from Tommy Slapshot.
Hey, what's going on, boys? This is Tommy. I'm from the
Hey,
States, but right now I'm overseas doing a little bit of service here.
thank you for your service.
Playing some hockey out here. European hockey is not like it is in the States. A bunch of not really good players out here. But let's get to the point. I want to talk about the New York Rangers and what they got to do to turn things around. They've been a little up and down here, and just thinking what they have to do to actually make a push here for playoffs and or more. Also wanted to talk a little bit about the Four Nations tournament, what you guys thought about how competitive they are going to be playing, if it's going to be like an Olympic mindset, winning for their country. Also what they might be doing on their time off if they are not playing the Four Nations. Just a little bit of a review. Figured I'd reach out to you guys. Been listening to the pod now for a little bit, and appreciate what you guys are doing. And yeah, definitely want to see some more on ice content from you hosers up there. But good chat. Look forward to hearing from a response.
Well, I don't know what the Jets are doing, but I know Dylan Sandberg, his girlfriend, is documenting their entire life on TikTok. She's one of those NHL wives. And I don't think that dude knows if he's coming back to the Winnipeg Arena or Canada Life Center. He looks crippled out there in Cabo.
Well, and I've heard he's on the trading block right now.
Yeah.
Him for Marchand?
Get your wife off TikTok.
Okay.
Get her off TikTok.
Okay.
Bad idea.
All right.
NHL wives.
What's up, boys? Jarvis here from PEI.
Jarvis.
My question is, do you guys think Marc-Andre Fleury is an overrated goalie?
Yes.
I think, of course, in longevity and games, you got to give it to him. He definitely is unique in that category. But everything else, not really, in terms of his goals against average, his save percentage. Obviously, in 2009, he did win that cup, but he was kind of meh in that series, honestly. And 16, 17, like a 24-year-old took the job over for him. Mm-hmm. They gave him up when an expansion team came. Of course, you're going to say, oh, well, the Vegas run. But the Vegas run just ended in blue balls. He didn't really achieve what he should have achieved. And obviously, he seems like a nice guy. He's pretty funny. But all this glazing about how he's a top 10 goalie is just wild to me.
I don't know if I'd put him in the top 10 of all time, but I think he's definitely a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Disagree.
We can disagree on that. That's fine. But I mean, Stanley Cup winner. Can't take that away from him. I mean, Look, you pump the tires of Muzz all the time. He's got 2 Stanley Cups with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Three. So there you look at his record right now, right? But he's got 3. He's got 3 mugs, which gives him all the credibility he needs. Mm-hmm. The Flowers got 1. Even the fact that he didn't get the Stanley Cup in Vegas, you know what it did do? Is expanded hockey down in Vegas, took them all the way to the finals in their first year. Mm-hmm. Are you kidding me? He did exactly what they needed him to do. I think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I think he's not only good in net, I think he's been great for the game.
Thanks for the call.
Fellas, how's it going here?
Hey.
I heard a story about, you guys said something about the Campbell River Storm, and
oh yeah.
Well, you know the coach, the GM, taking down the owner's wife.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you guys pretty much hit the nail right on the head, but it was a little bit crazier than that. So it was owned by a couple, right? And then the head coach comes in, and GM head coach, and I guess after they start having some success, he starts taking down like the owner's wife, and then he finds out, so he goes to fucking beat up the coach, and I'm pretty sure he ended up getting him with a baseball bat, and that's how she ended up getting full ownership of the team, and he went to jail for like 4 or 5 years. He still has a restraining order, can't come to the rink or anything. And yeah, it was, and then he just kept boffing the new owner, the ex owner's wife, and yeah, I mean that's pretty crazy. I'm just gonna say, if you see the size of this guy, you're like, no way anybody's taking him down. It's like, come on.
My 600-pound life.
Man, the tangled webs we weave, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you.
Hey guys,
Hey.
I think that the NHL and all sports need to start following Donald Trump right now. You see in his administration the headlines that on all the websites for the government, whether it be travel, defense, whatever, they're taking their websites and they're changing everything from LGBTQ, LMNOP2S plus whatever to just LGB. And I think it's a beautiful thing that we're starting to get the craziness, the politics, the mental illness, the hysteria out of sports, a place where it never belonged, where it never should be. And I think we're seeing real progress on this front.
Amen.
Gentlemen, big fan of the show. It's Christian from Toronto, Ontario.
Hey, Christian.
I can't think of a name to replace Gary. I do have some wishes for the next Gary Bettman. Let's ditch some of these digital board ads.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get rid of the ads on the jerseys. You guys touched on it on the last show. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And let's maybe get a team or two back in Canada. That would be ideal. I don't know about you guys, but when I watch World Juniors now, it's refreshing seeing the boards not move. It's the little things, you know. And hopefully he's got hockey background and hockey knowledge. Let's restore some of this great game and simmer down on the business aspect. It's we're tampering with the product a little bit.
I wish it was a little more parallel, where if we saw more ads, the ticket prices would be lower. But unfortunately, that's not happening. But you know, maybe if those ads weren't going up, maybe ticket prices would go up. I don't know what the correlation is there. I think, you know, in a lot of situations, you need to have a good business person in there. And as much as I do not like the way Gary Bettman has handled the league from a hockey perspective, he has done a very good job from a business perspective.
I don't think you're going to see any new Canadian teams anytime soon, especially with this dollar.
I think Quebec City's got a chance, man. I really do. They got the new rink there. I think they got a chance.
At 60 cents on the dollar, they're going to add a Canadian team?
I'm just saying.
I think you got to have at least 75 to 80 cents on the dollar before a Canadian team's even a realistic thought.
Well, that's why we have escrow.
Thanks for the call.
Hey, Trav, it's Danny from Chilliwack calling.
Hey, Danny.
I just wanted to call and say I totally agree with you about Canada becoming the 51st state. I would love to get access to some guns. I'd get me a shotgun. And that way, if you ever came near me or my family, I could blow your big old head off, eh? Yeah, have a good one, hey, fellas, and don't come near me.
Have a good day, Danny.
Okay.
Thanks for the call.
He's part of the antisocial party.
Sully, I told you to screen this shit.
Okay, we got
the last caller ever on Hot Ice.
Couple more.
I was thinking probably Dan Neer could be the next commissioner of the NHL. He's the current commissioner of the WHL. He's been doing pretty well.
Is this Dan Mear's son?
Don't know. Don't know.
Is his son calling in? Started the campaign right here on the show.
Hey, Trav, Wheeler, it's the Grozman here.
Grozman,
you guys
what's up?
got to give Regina another shot, man. It's the city that rhymes with fun.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what's not to love? We got some real good golf courses, some good eats.
Going to Deer Valley this June?
A really below-average WHL hockey team where they charge NHL prices.
Nice.
But there's a lot of bright spots in the city. You also got to check out senior hockey in Saskatchewan, man. There is some fellas making some serious coin. But I hope the boys are doing good. Long-time listener, first-time caller. Keep on keeping on.
Let's make it a regular thing. Call in more often. Show it to the city of Regina. Go Blue?
No.
Go Blue? We're going to Regina in June. We're going to go to the Hotel Saskabush.
Yeah, we are. Yeah. Listen, I love Saskatoon. Mm-hmm. Regina,
He's lighting up a bong.
Yeah.
Thanks for the call in.
However you like to ingest the show, cool.
We don't care.
Trav, you're too stupid to do anything with hockey. Dave's actually a successful guy who made a name for himself in Winnipeg radio. You have done deck all with your life. And you keep talking about bullshit with politics. Done nothing, buddy. Dave, I think you got to stay away from this guy. This guy does not offer you nothing. If anything, he's going to tank your career. And yeah, that's it. Trav, stick to doing travel vlogs. Don't talk about politics. Stick to getting cut off of dog shit, basically beer league teams.
Is that your agent?
No.
No? President of your fan club?
You notice how his brain was working faster than his mouth there and he couldn't figure out what words he wanted to say? That's kind of funny. Thanks for the call in, though.
My question is, if you think hockey players have a desire for more violent sex or like demure.
Oh.
Okay, thanks.
Demure. Very thoughtful. Very demure.
Well, how many times have I referenced in the last 45 minutes Dave absolutely throttling girls' heads into the headboard?
Okay.
During his playing days.
Hello, Dave and Trav. Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you. Thank you. We love you.
Just want to, I'm just curious. I just wanted you guys to go in further depth about Connor Hellebuyck.
Oh.
I get it. I saw the vlog. You guys went to a Jazz game together.
Ate a hot dog, too.
And that really, sparked my interest about Connor Hellebuyck, honestly, because I'm a goalie myself, and just watching him, he doesn't look overly athletic or flexible or anything like that. I get it, world-class goaltender. The stats speak for themselves. But at the same time, he doesn't look like he's doing a lot, if that makes sense. I don't know.
I'll answer your question. Very simple. Couple of things. You notice with his arms, elbows are always tucked. He's always very tight, almost Tyrannosaurus Rex-ish to the body. He's eliminating holes. He's working inside, out. Make all the inside saves, not like Stuart Skinner, no leaky goals. Make saves from the out afterwards. I think it's a little bit more difficult than working outside in, but he's got 2 Vezina trophies, so who cares what I think?
I think he's a late bloomer. He's a guy who could barely make his junior club back in the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he has just found his rhythm. He's found his niche. He's got a great team in front of him. He's playing on Team USA, another great team in front of him. He is a victim of circumstance.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can deny the stats. Like you said, I think he's going to win another Vezina, possibly a Hart Trophy this year, and possibly even a Stanley Cup. So how do you deny that? I mean, there's no pictures on the scorecard. You stop the puck however you can.
But he's asking what makes him so special. I think what makes him the most special out of everything that he does so well, he doesn't get out of the way of pucks. He's very in position, putting the mass center of the puck. With the exception of that bad first goal against the Finns, he does not get out of the way almost ever.
Right.
Most importantly, his head is always level. There was a video some goalie coach got back in the international series when they went to Finland and Sweden to play a couple games. He was filming his practice routine. And when he's doing his movements, whether it's a shuffle, T-push, backside push, butterfly slide, the head is always at the same height. It never moves. Everything below the head is moving, but the computer, is always staying level. And that's important because imagine you and I are trying to do a measurement. We're building a house, but I'm holding the tape down for you, but I'm moving it. Imagine how hard it would be to measure up and cut things properly.
Right.
Head's always the same level. It's always consistent. The computer's calculating from a consistent place. It's what makes him so special. And I don't know if there's an NHL goalie out there that does it that efficiently and that effective and that good as him. Head, same level, never moves. And also there's a little bit of that Shakira. The hips are always moving.
The hips don't lie, man.
Post to post, baby.
Call the voicemail anytime. All the information is down in the podcast description. That's another episode.
Thank you for listening. This is Slangin The Bizkit. I'm Travis Ridgen. That's Dave Wheeler. We do a new episode every single Sunday from this studio just outside the Winnipeg Airport in Polo Park. We do new episodes on Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 in the prairies here in Winnipeg, 9 a.m. in the plains of Calgary, 8 a.m. on the Pacific Northwest Coast. Call the voicemail if you disagree with anything. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. We are on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Rumble, Instagram, TikTok, X, Twitter. We're everywhere. We'll see you next Sunday.